letting people in. Kita tunggu sebentar ya. Ya, bentar lagi kita mulai. Tapi ingat kalau ada teman atau siapa yang mau ikutin tapi nggak punya Zoom, bisa ikutin YouTube live channelnya kita. Terus ya, kasih tahu aja teman-teman. Anyway, we'll probably get started soon. Mehmet is from Apricot Tours in Turkey. The company's been around for how many years, Mehmet?
Well, it's been over, we started in, it's 12, 13, 18, 21 years.
Wow, 21 years. Okay. So Mehmet, take it away, and then we'll, as usual, if you have any questions, you can either unmute yourself and ask the question or write on the chat, and then we can go to the question and the question answer time. Okay, thank you, Mehmet.
All right. Hello, everybody. It's been a long time that I haven't been in Indonesia, and I never thought that I would be with you through Zoom like this. You know, my plans always were to come there, to either to go to the travel shows or visit you by in person. But now, because of the COVID, we have to make do with this. And thanks God that there is this possibility. Thank you, Stephen, for providing this opportunity so that we can contact one another. Now, we have been receiving a lot of people from Indonesia to Turkey. But of course, through COVID, things started slowing down, and finally, no tourism. Now, after the first round of COVID, I think everybody, all the countries realized certain things about this problem, this disease, this pandemic. And because of the need in the economy and because of the demand of the people, they started opening the borders. But they did a lot of precautions. So did Turkey. We did a lot of precautions. And one of the basic thing was our Ministry of Tourism, our municipalities established conditions. And there were certain local and international companies following up these conditions, and hotels, restaurants, and the transportation companies who do have these conditions do get a certificate, and the tourism safety certificate, and this is how they can operate. If you have a cafe or a restaurant and you do not have the tourism safety certificate, you cannot operate. So during this meeting, I will take you to the page of the Tourism Cultural Ministry, and I will show you the lists of hotels, restaurants, and transportation companies who have this certificate. So when you are planning your tours to Turkey, you can personally check if the hotels and the restaurants that you're going to try do have the certificate too. Now, what does the certificate provide? First of all, in the buses and in the restaurants, the seating arrangements. But before that, the disinfection procedures and how often the disinfection takes place after each client, after each day. Second, as I said, is the seating. How is the seating arranged? In the buses, you cannot, if you have the same last name, you can sit together. But then there is a space in front of you, behind you, and by the side. And this is how, if you're single, you on a double seat, you sit single. Again, on your right, left, front, there's space. But they do arrange it nicely, diagonally. So you do not lose a lot of space, but you have distance in between. In the restaurants also, there is a table of 4, you can sit maximum 3, and then next table, the chairs next to you are empty. So there's a system, there's a design like that. Hotels are more careful with disinfection. They've been getting checked, controlled, etc. And of course, because of the competition, now this security procedures, they're competing with one another on the security procedures. So the hotel calls are like, hey, we have this and that and that, you know, you must tell people that we are doing this and that and that. So the best, of course, is to check the government website and make sure that the hotels that you're going to be visiting are listed on the travel security list in the ministry's web page. So this is how we're doing the interior protections. But then again, coming to Turkey, Turkey allowed visitors to come and visit since August. But then the conditions are this. From your country, when you come out, you must have a COVID test, right? I mean, is it the same in Australia? I'm sorry. Is it the same in Indonesia that they let you out only if you have a COVID test?
In Indonesia, you mean, or?
Yeah, in Indonesia. Do you have to have a COVID test before you go out of the country?
You have to have a COVID test and a letter from the doctor or a certificate saying that you're COVID free. Yeah.
Right. If you're over 65, you must have a letter from the doctor that you can travel, you know, visiting Turkey. And coming into the country at the airport, you are going to go through a quick medical check. If you have symptoms, this is now becoming the thing in Turkey. If you have symptoms and complaints, then you are immediately taken under control, protection. And if you do not have symptoms and if you do not have complaints, then you're all right. Now, this is not a loose thing on travel business, that if you do not have complaints, you're all right. In the medical scene, in the hospitals also, even if you have COVID positive and you have no complaints, they let you get healed at home. You don't have to be in the hospital. Say that you are COVID positive, but you have no headache, no smelling problem. No, I mean, you're okay, no complaints. Then they let you home. They give you your medicine and you stay home 2 weeks and then you get another control afterwards. So same thing, if you have no complaints and no symptoms and you have already a COVID test coming from the country, you're okay, you can come into Turkey. And they will give you, if you have complaints, they will give you a test at the airport, a quick one. And if you are positive there, then you have to be hospitalized, being a foreigner. So this is how we handle the entrances and exits from Turkey. I think coming back to your country, you need to also have no symptoms, etc. There are certain formalities, am I right? Going back to Indonesia. But coming to Turkey, this is the case. This is how we meet you at the airport. And then our buses have safe travel certificates and disinfection, seating arrangements. of course, the most important thing that we need to do, I'm sorry that I'm not doing it now, but I have it with me all the time, is the mask. We wear this mask, and then when you are visiting Turkey, you must have this on all the time. Now, I'm going to take it off so you can see my handsome face. Now, but in Turkey, throughout, from step 1 until the end, you must have a mask. In the restaurants, of course not, you know, when you're dining. But otherwise, that's it, the mask. So, these are our precautions. The restaurants, when you look at the list of the restaurants of the ministry, you are not going to see the Indonesian restaurants there in the list. Apparently, the Indonesian restaurants, I did not see them in the list of municipality, nor in the list of the government. Then I realized that they are on a vacation now. They have not been active. The restaurants like now, let me read the names. Warung Nusantara, I hope I'm reading the name correctly. Katulistiwa and Koali Lounge. Koali Lounge and Dine. These are the goodish ones now. But they're not listed yet. And I will check to see in the coming weeks if they will be on the list. But as I told you, without that certificate, they cannot serve tourists. So, coming back to what we offer in Turkey, I mean, we have been looking at the map. I wonder if you do see, can you see my, you know, the moving cursor on the map?
Yes, we can. Yeah.
All right, great. So instead of a laser thing, I will use this cursor to explain things. Now, recently, I mean, just a few days ago, something happened in Turkey, and something not so nice. On top of COVID, I hope this is the last disaster of the 2020. We had an earthquake in Izmir, around here. Actually, the earthquake was just 23 kilometers out of island Samos nearby, and it affected Izmir and the peninsula in front of Izmir heavily. Then, of course, we face something that we've been suffering for ages: corruption. 17 buildings out of 4.5 million population city, 17 buildings, apartments, have been constructed on a space that there should not have been any construction. You know, soft earth, and they have been given, how shall I say, false, fake, dangerous warnings, danger warnings. When you get such a warning, when you get such a certificate, you know, this building is not safe to live in from the municipality, you have to evacuate that building in 2 months, 60 days. One of those buildings that collapsed had this warning 10 years ago instead of 60 days. So somehow they managed to live in those buildings. Somehow people actually did not care for their lives, for their safeties, But all the same, 17 buildings collapsed. We have a little over 100 people who died during this earthquake. It was 7.1 on the place that it took place. And the effect of it in Izmir was 6.6 magnitude, which is pretty heavy, but I mean, not like an atomic bomb. And all the buildings remained, but those 17 buildings, unfortunately, were damaged. So this is the last disaster. I wonder, I mean, I thought you might have been asking me, you might want to ask me about questions about Izmir earthquake. This is what had happened. We have been working on the debris, the damaged buildings. And after 70 hours, some people were still saved. Miracles, you know, I mean, we know that you cannot live without water more than 3 days. You can live without food 3 months maybe, but without water you cannot. And these people, babies and so on, little kids, have been saved from the wrecked buildings. And it's still continuing. At the moment, they are saving people. They are just digging and getting more people out. They are thinking that there might be another dozen or more in 2 of the buildings that they have been working on. Anyway, this is where we're at. This is the situation in Turkey. Now let's talk about the good things. You know, one day we are going to recover and we are going to be over with COVID. If they do not come up with other viruses and things like that, you know, if the conspiracy theories are not true, we are going to get back to our business. We are going to get back to our travel business and start doing some good things. We already started. In Turkey, we are receiving a lot of Ukrainians and Russians to Turkey. Europe is having inner and outer problems with COVID. So I hope in the near future, we start getting Indonesians to Turkey too. Now, some things changed, of course, after the COVID. Turkey remains the same, but the way we handle business changed a little bit. You know, mass tourism was very profitable for some people. I mean, wow, let's get 3,000 people in so many shots. And then how do we do that? Well, we deal with the hotels. We're going to have 3,000 people. Talk to the hotel, say, I'm going to give you 10,000. And get some good rates, and then get partial payment facility, you know, possibilities, and then deal with the shops and say, I'm going to get in, I'm going to send you 3,000 people, and then get some prepayment from the shops, and finally work with -200, -300. And some of these companies manage somehow, and some, you probably already know, collapsed, finished. They don't exist anymore. So, of course, this is not the way to do good business. I mean, this is, at least this is not for us. We never tried to force people to very low quality things with -200, -300. And of course, one of the nice things, or let me say, one of the fancy appearances of such a show is you get yourself a good bus, handsome looking bus. Fill people in that handsome looking bus. The first appearance, when you are in a good bus, you think everything is going to be the same quality as this Mercedes, latest fashion. And the rest, of course, is no way. But as people do not know what is good and what is not. It's the first time they're coming to Turkey, they don't care. And as long as they eat okay, they eat Indonesian, and they have some place to sleep, and they do shopping, they're fine. So I think after the COVID, this type of tourism is going to slow down or end totally. I think people, for their safety and security, will look for a little bit better quality. Quality not only for fun, not only for pleasure, but also for safety. Because we know COVID kills. I mean, we found out badly that COVID kills. So we are going to look for a little better hotels, and some of those safety procedures will affect the cost because they might not have the same occupancy rate as they used to have. Same with the buses. The buses, 43-seater buses, will be taking less people. And similar thing with the restaurants. Aside from their protection procedures, they will probably have carry less people inside. So all that may affect the cost a little bit for the quality places. Now let us see. A lot of you have been to Turkey, but many of you have not. What we offer in Turkey, we're surrounded with sea in 3 sides. So we are like a big peninsula. And there is a lot of history in Turkey. We are like a bridge between Europe and Asia. And a lot of civilizations have passed through this peninsula, this bridge, throughout history, where we found out the first ones, the first existing civilizations here, were around in this area from 11,000 before Christ. 11,000 is pretty old. I mean, let's say it's 13,000 years old. It's called Göbekli Tepe. That is the oldest historical site on Earth today. So from Göbekli Tepe until today, a lot of things had happened. We had civilizations along the west coast, like Ionians, Ionians, we had Ephesus, we had Pergamum, we had Troy. We had in the central Anatolia Hittites, 2000s to 1200s. And then we had Alexander the Great and the Hellenistic culture. Then we had Romans coming in. And then the Romans, when they start collapsing, they divided into 2. And one of the Roman capitals was here, Constantinople, Istanbul today. From 7th century on, Islamic movement to Asia Minor started. And, you know, even one of the Islamic sieges to Constantinople was accompanied by one of the flag keepers of Prophet Muhammad. The Muslim people who are listening to us would know that in Medina, Prophet's camel stopped in front of a house where he was hosted. I mean, this is how he chose where to stay. He did not want to say no to anybody, so he just let his camel stroll and then stop somewhere where he could sleep. And the family of that house, later on, one member was a part of the siege to Constantinople during 7th century. His name was Eyyub al-Ansari. And there is a mosque in Istanbul, under that name, Ayyub Mosque, Ayyub al-Ansari Mosque, and it is known and believed that he died during the siege of Constantinople, and he wanted to be buried there, saying that it doesn't matter because in future other people will come to take the place, and he is going to be buried in Islamic soil. So there is a mosque in Istanbul with his name, Ayyub al-Ansari, and it's visiting. It's in our visit list when you are coming to Istanbul. So the Islamic movement started basically with the Seljuk Turks that came to Asia Minor in the 11th century. And then a lot of fights with the Mongols, with the Crusades, with the Seljuks through 11th through 12th century until somewhere around here, near the Sea of Marmara, a small kingdom started, small Turkish Islamic kingdom called the Ottomans, which in time became large enough to take the whole Asia Minor, Anatolia, including Middle East, Arabic Peninsula, North Africa, and Europe up to Italy. You know, today's the old Yugoslavia, Greece, Macedonia, Romania, Bulgaria, and so on. And then on the Black Sea, Crimean Peninsula, and the whole Black Sea coast, including Georgia, Armenia, and parts of Russia, etc. That was a big empire. You know, after the First World War and the independence war that took place in our country, Turkish Republic was established, and that is where we are now. So what happens is, when we look at our land, all what I have been telling you, you have little marks of it here and there. You have the Hittites here, you can see. You have the Göbekli Tepe, you have Diyarbakir, and you have the Nemrut Mountains, and you have Ephesus, and you have Troy, the Trojan place. You have Hagia Sophia, you have fortresses of Istanbul, and so on. A lot of things here. So we do certain tours. The basic one, the most popular one, is a one-week tour that is going around in this area. Let me tell you, our tours usually start with Istanbul. Istanbul is, you know, one of the most beautiful cities of the world. I mean, if you are coming to Istanbul by boat, that's what you get to see. You know, the seagulls welcome you, and then you start seeing the towers and the buildings of Istanbul. The construction is such a cacophony. I mean, there is no disastrous symphony like the silhouette of Istanbul. It is a mixture of all styles. There is no harmony, but it is so beautiful. As you approach, I mean, this is what you see, and people fall in love with this view. Excuse me. And there's this beautiful water separating the two parts of Istanbul. That's the Bosphorus, that is from the Black Sea to the Sea of Marmara, with beautiful mansions, palaces, mosques on it. Now we have, like this one, bridges, 3 bridges over the Bosphorus. That is not enough. We also have a tunnel that is going under the Bosphorus for the traffic between the two continents. This is another view of the Galata Tower. That is from a Genoese commercial colony from 7th century. Beautiful view. When you go up to that tower, you can get the panoramic shots of Istanbul from all directions. That's beautiful. This is the Learner's Tower. Now, again, coming to Istanbul, when you watch the sea, oops, there is this tower in the middle. It's an old Byzantine lighthouse with a lot of legends to it. And it's still in existence. There's a beautiful restaurant inside. You can take these boats from the shore. You can take a boat, go there, either have a cup of tea or just walk around or try the restaurant and then take the boat back. We have a lot of churches. This one is one of the major, the Church of Kora. Churches like Hagia Sophia and Kora during the Ottoman period have been converted to a mosque, and for 500 years they have been used as mosque, and then they have been converted to a museum, and recently some of them are being converted to mosques again, and doing so, mosaics like this are covered with curtains during praying hours. And other than that, the curtains are lifted and people, like a museum, can visit these buildings. Blue Mosque is one of the, highlights of Istanbul. You can see these 6 minarets, beautiful blue tiles inside, like this. It's from 1617, and it's one of the masterpieces of Ottoman architecture in Istanbul. This is the interior of the Blue Mosque. Hagia Sophia is another masterpiece. Imagine, it's from 537. When it was built, it was the biggest church of the world. Still today, as a building, after St. Peter's in Rome and St. Peter's in Seville, Hagia Sophia is the third largest church building. I think there was another one built in Africa, but it was not consecrated, so it's not in the category, but apparently it's the biggest on the Ivory Coast. Anyway, the interior of Hagia Sophia is so impressive. It served as a church for 900 years, as a mosque for about 450 years, and as a museum over 50 years. So it's been serving people for 1400 years. Another attraction in Istanbul is the Grand Bazaar. Grand Bazaar, there's something for everybody. It's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun, and Indonesians are pretty good in Grand Bazaar sports. I call it the Grand Bazaar sports. There's a little bargaining involved, of course, and there are certain tactics in walking, and you probably should not get into eye contact with the sellers much. And then there are guys, we call them yes please guys. They're in front of the stores, they say yes please, yes please. And what you do, you should never, if you don't want what they're offering, you should never say a thing. They ask you something and you say no. It's a mistake. No is a beginning of a delightful conversation, because the guy is going to say, why not? And then you need to explain why not, etc., etc. Then before you realize, you find yourself sitting in his store, having a cup of tea and watching what he's got to offer. So these are excellent salesmen, super salesmen. So, things in the Grand Bazaar. Water pipes, lamps, tiles. Now, we have had a little glimpse of Istanbul. What we usually do, we drive from Istanbul via Ankara to Cappadocia. To Cappadocia to listen to the symphony of the rocks. This is such a surface, such an area eroded heavily after eruption of 3 volcanoes. The whole surface was covered with tufa and lava, and then erosion turned the whole area to the shape of moon in a way. And early Christians carved places, and I think carved some of those rocks and built churches inside, and they built homes inside, and then the soft ground could be dug 5, 8, 9 levels. So there are underground cities dug on the earth here, 9 stories under the ground. And when I started travel business, there were about 15 underground cities in this area. Today, there are about 150 underground cities in this area. It looks like there were more residential areas underground than overground around Cappadocia. It is such a unique place. Here's another view of Cappadocia. See how these things are eroded with wind and with rain, and turned into the shape of cones. And this is interior of a church in Cappadocia. Frescoes. See, they used lapis lazuli to do the blue coloring. It's beautiful. And that's another thing about Cappadocia, the balloons, the balloon tours. You know, I don't know how many people put it in their bucket list that, you know, something to do before they leave this earth is try the hot air balloon in Cappadocia. So this is a hot air balloon in Cappadocia. It's a beautiful experience. Then from Cappadocia, we drive to Konya, Iconium with the old name. So it is a very important city both for Muslim and Christian people. It's important for the Christian people because it's Iconium. This is one of the places that St. Paul visited during his missionary journeys. It is important for the Muslim people because this was the capital of the Seljuk Empire, and this is where all the Islamic, how do you say, man of knowledge lived. One of them, the most important philosopher, was Mevlana Jalaluddin Rumi. And this is where he is buried, and this is where his biggest, I mean, his basic madrasa, the teaching, I mean, the school was, and there's also a mosque right next. So this is the Mevlana complex, and one of the teachings of Mevlana was a dance ritual. It's a sort of meditation through dancing, and this is the performance of the Sufi Mevlevi dance that you see here. From Konya, we drive to Pamukkale. Pamukkale, the cotton fortress. In Turkey, there's no such other place. I mean, I don't know if there's similar places around the world, but this is the calcar inside in the underground waters. There are a lot of hot water sources, thermal water sources underneath, and then when they surface, the oxygen leaves and the calcar remains on the ground, and that is what happens. They form terraces like that, and then the calcar in time forms layers over layers over layers, and it becomes a very picturesque scene. This is the PAMUKKALE, the cotton fortress, and behind this beautiful scene is a historical Roman site, Hierapolis. And then we drive a little further, we pass a couple of places to get to Ephesus. This is the famous library of Ephesus. We are in Ephesus already. One of the biggest cities in the world, 250,000 population. Today it's nothing. But imagine 250,000 people population during 2nd century, 1st century. That is a lot of people. A lot of people. It was a very important port, and big trade from Aegean and Mediterranean was taking place here. It was a huge marketplace. And this is where, after crucifixion, St. John of Patmos, came with Virgin Mary. This is it's believed that Virgin Mary came here, lived here, and died here. So the place where she lived later on was found through the dreams of a German nun, Emmerich, from Kavala near Köln. This disabled nun was dreaming about Virgin Mary's house. And it was such vivid, such clear dreams that the church accepted this and did search party to the area and found exactly in the place that she was describing, first century ruins of the building. And they finished that building, turned it into a chapel. Now, when they were doing it, the local people came and said, "What are you doing here?" Well, we found Virgin Mary's house. "Ah, you mean Mama Mary, Maryam Ana, Maryam Ana." That is what the locals called her, Maryam Ana. He said, "Yes." "Why did you have to suffer so much? You could have asked us. We knew it." How? From our grandfathers and then grandfathers. So throughout centuries, local people always knew she was there. There was a water source. Local people would go up to that hill and take some water from that water source and then take it to the people that they need to heal. And they believed that this water was healing. It was such a strong belief, and there are so many proofs that it helped people, it healed people. So this is the house of Blessed Virgin. Kuşadası means the bird's island, where all these ships come and that they go to visit cruise ships. The people disembark and visit Ephesus. The Kuşadası is the port, and this is one tiny little island of that town, Kuşadası. What we did just a while ago was to go from Istanbul to Cappadocia, to Konya, and then to Pamukkale, Denizli, and then to Kuşadası, Ephesus. And then on the tours, we go from there to back to Istanbul, either fly or drive through Troy or drive via Pergamon. Or we do it the other way around. From Istanbul, we go to Çanakkale, Pergamon, Kuşadası, Pamukkale, Konya, Cappadocia, Ankara, Bolu, Istanbul. This, what I show you on the map, is the typical, traditional Turkish tour. Everybody, but I mean everybody in Indonesia, I mean the tour operators, and or in Philippines or in Malaysia are doing this tour. We do this tour too. Only we do it with our selected hotels. We do it with our style of food. We really care very much for food. You know, when you travel, I have been telling you a lot of things about, let's say, about Ephesus or about Cappadocia. When you visit, you are going to hear more. And when you go back home, you might not remember any of that. But you will remember very little. But you will remember the food. If there's good food that you have had, you will remember that. You will say, wow, you know, there was such a good kebab we had, or we had such good whatever. So we know that in order for us to stay in your memories, we need to serve you very good food. And this is what we work on. Now, looking at these spices, you'll say, wow, such spices. But I must tell you, we have very good spices. We have we have chili and hot, but nothing like Indonesia. Nothing like Indonesia. I remember somewhere near Jakarta, we had a local food where I asked my friend if there's an ambulance nearby to take me to the hospital because it was so hot. In 5 minutes or so, it was okay. But those 5 minutes, my goodness, I found out what was the record hot food was. I mean, it could be that hot, huh? But we have very tasty spices, super tasty spices, and you will love to go around the spice market, and you will love the way these spices are adapted and used in Turkish cuisine. This is some of the appetizers. It might remind you of the Sumatra cuisine. You know, the restaurants I tried in Indonesia where they bring you all these things, 12, 13, 15, 20 little cups, and you eat what you like and so on. I really like that. This is a similar thing. We call it meze, and but the only thing is, when it comes to your table, you pay for it. You reject it in the beginning. You know, it comes with a tray, and then you say this, that, and they put it on your table, and then that's it. This is very tasty food. This is Aegean and Anatolian and Middle Eastern and Asian mixture, because this is our heritage, and you will enjoy it very much. Of course, we serve Indonesian food in Turkey, but what we like to do is to give you Indonesian food and to let you taste Turkish food selected for the Indonesian gusto, so that you know, there's a big chance that you will enjoy it. And then, of course, our kebabs are meat. It's international. You know, I have not had anyone who said I don't like the kebabs. You know, they usually enjoy the Turkish kebabs very much. Nightlife in Istanbul was pretty heavy. Not anymore, because this crowd, what you see, it's illegal today. You cannot be that close to one another. You cannot be that much crowded anymore in Istanbul. I mean, I don't know how long, and as long as this COVID-19 pandemic is on, there will not be any such crowds. Oh, in entertainment places, belly dancing. So it's a popular thing here. And shopping. Not only the Grand Bazaar, but international malls. I hate to do the advertisement of Gucci, but they are here too. You know, all these big brands in the malls. Here is another brand here. What's it? Louis Vuitton. And leather, of course, in Turkey, it's so popular. When I started travel business, we were importing leather from Italy. Local leather was not so good. Then we were buying the raw leather from Italy and then manufacturing it here. Today we are selling leather to Italy. And the Turkish leather is such good quality, such high quality. They either manufacture it and sell the finished things to Italy, or they sell the leather to Italy and the Italians do the finishing in their own style and so on. But that's where the leather industry is at, and you know, I'm proud of it. You know, we're doing pretty good. Other things that the shopping covers, you know, the spices, herbs, the dried fruits and nuts. Yes, tiles, Turkish tiles. It's quite an interesting branch again. Very good quality tiles. Carpets. This is an old Uşak carpet, but a lot of carpets and jewelry, gold. This is what you'll be seeing in Turkey when you do shopping around. Other than the brands, you know, like Gucci and Turkish brands like Vakko and Mudo and things like that. This is the other side of shopping in Turkey. And of course, our tulips. You know, the ambassadors from Holland many years ago were given some tulip bulbs as a gift to the Dutch royalty. And they took the tulip bulbs to Holland. They loved it. It was such a beautiful flower. And they started getting tulip bulbs from Turkey, and they planted in Holland. And it became such a thing that they started going tulip crazy. People started selling their homes to buy good quality tulip bulbs and raise tulips in Holland. Dutch became the tulip country. Today, we are the motherland of tulips, but we buy a lot of tulip bulbs from Holland during April so that we decorate Istanbul with tulips. So this is some of the tulips of Istanbul. Here are the purple tulips in front of Hagia Sophia. When it's dark, these tulips have a beautiful color. Well, this is one of our short presentations. As you realize, I can sit down here and tell you hours about Turkey. And there's so much. We started, just before pandemic, we started 3 new projects. One of them was the islands. The other one was Black Sea coast, but the most important project was the Southeast Turkey project. We had 4 programs, 4 tours that cover Cappadocia also, but it covers world's biggest, at the moment, world's biggest mosaic museum, Zeugma, Gaziantep. It covers Urfa, the town of Prophet Ibrahim, Edessa, that is. It covers a beautiful museum there. It covers nearby archaeological site, world's oldest archaeological site, Göbekli Tepe. By the way, in Netflix, there is a movie called The Gift. It's a Turkish movie, The Gift, and it's about Göbekli Tepe. It's a very interesting movie, historical, mysterious, etc. So, Nemrut Mountain, the mountain with colossal statues, and Halfeti Lake, and Birecik, the city with black roses. Black roses. All that area with beautiful food, because we say the golden triangle of food is Southeast Turkey, Antakya, Gaziantep, and Aleppo in Syria. Aleppo is not possible at the moment, but Gaziantep is one of our cuisine centers. And this program is going to be on very soon. You know, I will be sending samples of this program to Parentera, and you can always get that. It's a new thing. I know we all want to sell the safe thing, you know, that program I just showed you, and because everybody is selling it, because it's very popular, people don't want to take any other risks, continue selling that program. But this one that I'm telling you is incredible. I mean, it's like totally a different country, and you may enjoy it also. So altogether, I hope we get to see you in Turkey sometime in the near future, and I hope you enjoy Turkey. Now, I will answer your questions if you have any.
Yeah. Thanks, Mehmet. Yeah, such a beautiful country. I think there's a lot to see, a lot to do there. You've explained very well, but I'm sure, as you said, you can talk about it for many more hours if you wanted to. But this is just a sample of something in Turkey. But I think, is there any, ada yang mau tanya apa-apa nggak untuk Pak Mehmet, mumpung ada dia di sini? I think one question I have to ask you is that what happens if you go to Turkey and suddenly you found that you're positive with COVID? What is the procedure there? Do you get quarantined or?
You get quarantined, you're hospitalized.
Yeah, who pays for that?
Now, you must have a travel insurance.
Okay, yes, now, yeah, itu penting ya. I think right now, I think there is insurance for COVID, so it's important when you travel to anyone that they have that insurance. I think that's the best way, or else I think it's quite expensive if you get it and then you have to pay from your own pocket. So it's best to have insurance.
Actually, it's not like US. Turkey is not that expensive for the COVID treatment.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
As a matter of fact, there are so many different levels of COVID. Some of them in 2 weeks with the ordinary, cold medicine, you know, antibiotics that you are given when you have when you catch cold. That also takes care of COVID, but some of them you need to heavy medication, heavy viral medication.
Yeah.
All right, that's it. You know, you have to have once you have the insurance, You know, insurance companies are profiting from COVID. The vaccination companies will be profiting from COVID. Internet companies are profiting from COVID. I hope COVID will come to an end and we will start profiting also.
Yes, we all wish that. you,
Yeah.
you begin to sound a bit like Trump. Let's forget that. Anyway, ada pertanyaan tentang Turkey. Yeah, I think there's a lot of the agents here who's probably been to Turkey. I think it's one of the tours that sell very well in the past. But I think the major difference that you were saying before is how I think now tourists are changing. I think there's better quality is demanded because there'll be smaller groups. I don't think there'll be big groups anymore because of the social distancing that they have to sit in separate chairs and things like that. If you have a big group, you probably have multiple buses, which is quite a headache. Plus, also, it's good to know that there's a lot of regulations about masks and everything that keeps everyone safe. So, but I think it's good to look at quality. And as you said, food is very important to the Indonesian market. So it's good to know that you have, you emphasize on that. I think that's important, that you do have a mixture of not just Indonesian, but also the good local food. Hotels also, you're saying that you also choose better hotels. Is that correct?
You know, the hotels not only are better, but at the moment they also must have a very good precautions. Yes, we choose better hotels, of course. But now, other than that, we care for the precautions. You know, the hotels that we're working with, Steve, we don't just check the government listing. Of course, we do our own inspections there to make sure that the precautions are good quality.
Yeah, that's great. I think that's a good peace of mind for anyone selling tours to Turkey. That kalau ada mau kirim ke Turkey, satu emphasis untuk apricot tours yang Pak Mehmet bilang, dia cari tempat-tempat yang aman untuk passengers dan yang punya apa namanya procedures yang jelas buat COVID ya, supaya reducing the chances of getting COVID a lot more. And that's a good emphasis to have, yeah, especially this time. Paling mungkin yang the biggest threat we have kalau kita kirim orang ke luar negeri tiba-tiba kena COVID, kita yang repot kan. Tapi kalau punya agent yang bisa benar-benar look after, itu penting banget. Yeah, so that's why I think right now it's a good time to trust the agents that you have. And Mehmet's been there for 21 years. And Perantara, we look after agents yang udah established and good quality and always have customer satisfactory in mind. So anyway, kalau ada any requests on quote or anything that you need to know about ideas, you want to know maybe new itinerary, yang seperti Pak Mehmet tadi bilang, you can always send us an email. You can contact either myself or Bulis, and we can help you communicate with Mehmet and his team in Turkey. And yeah, it's exciting to know that Turkey is open. Yeah, so you can start selling now. You don't have to wait till borders are open. Borders are already open in Turkey. And as we said also before, Dubai is also open. So there's a couple of places that you can send people. And Mehmet and Apricot Tours are ready to look after your inquiries and welcome your group to Turkey. Yeah. Did you want to say anything else before we end today, Mehmet?
Yeah, I will send you the web page of the government. You can give it to anybody about the list of the hotels and the transportation companies and restaurants and so on, you know, that are doing certificated business.
Okay, great. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your explanation, and we appreciate it very much. And stay safe. and it's good to know that you know that you're safe from the earthquakes. And yes, I agree with you. Hopefully, this is the last of the disaster for 2020, and 2021 will be a great year for Turkey.
I hope so.
Take care.
I hope so. Thank you. Thank you for this organization. Thank you for all that attendance.
Yeah.
And stay safe. And hope to see you soon.
Yes, yes. Terima kasih teman-teman. Sampai ketemu lagi. Minggu depan ada webinar lagi. Nanti kita kirim invite-nya, dan bentar lagi kita kirim juga presentation-nya Mehmet ke kalian semua supaya bisa jelas. Kalau misalnya ada sesuatu yang masih belum jelas, bisa tanya kita langsung, atau bisa replay lagi, watch lagi di YouTube live-nya kita ya, YouTube channel-nya. Okay, thank you. Stay safe, everybody. Have a great rest of the week, and we'll see you next week.
Selamat sore semua. Sampai ketemu lagi. Terima kasih.